What's up, everybody? This is Javier here, coming to you live. I hope everybody's doing well today. So I had a broadcast planned, talking about one thing that Charlie Kirk got right, truly got right, and I was going to do a video about that. Now, I decided to change course here. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put that video aside for later because as I was planning to make that video, something else caught my attention. And it's not something that just caught my attention. This is something that was continuing to brew, and that has been brewing in my head for several days now. And it's the video that's been going viral of Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, and several others. I'm trying to figure out who they were. Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, and numerous others at a Miami nightclub singing to Heil Hitler. Now, if you guys know me, you know, I know very well, I'm an undercover I know how to be undercover. I know how to investigate the other side. So what I did is I went on and literally listened to, as painful as it was, I listened to Nick Fuentes' broadcast explaining what happened. He talked about his flight to Miami. He talked about getting off in Miami, staying at the hotel, and then meeting up with these guys, if you will, over in Miami. And there were a whole bunch of these very controversial far-right figures that are very popular with the hard right that were partying with, you know, Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, all this stuff. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, you know, Nick Fuentes, and several others were involved in this party. I'm going to play a clip to you about this, and we're going to talk about it once I play this clip. And we're just going to discuss just how dangerous this really is. And I'm just going to be emphasizing some points, but this is the video of the party right here. Folks, this video doesn't have to be that long. I pretty much, let me balance this real quick. This video doesn't have to be that long. I think pretty much the point here has been made. The people included in this video were, you know, Nick Fuentes. Let me just see who was at the Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate party, Miami. Give me a second. Okay, so here are the people that were there. Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, Clivitar, and Justin Waller. So these people here were just in that video that I showed you. And from what I know about these people, they are, especially people like Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate, and particularly those two, are tragically, very popular with young men. Young men like myself, young men like so many in Gen Z and the millennial generation and all that stuff. These people are very popular with young men, you know, and Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, all these people. I've been speaking about this for a long time, you know, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, etc., etc. I've been speaking about these people for a very long time. And they are very much growing in popularity with Gen Z men. And it's tragic. It's tragic. It's tragic. And it's sad as heck, you know. And And I guess, at this point, I'm just like, we saw exactly what they represent. We've seen plenty and plenty and plenty of clips of Nick Fuentes dropping the N-word, Tucker Carlson, who was not at this party, but may as well have been, in my opinion, dropping the F-A-G-G-O-T word, and we've seen like plenty of clips of these people doing that shamelessly, unapologetically. And honestly, it's evil. It's evil. I have no other words than to call this out for what it is. These people, these Nick Fuentes, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Sneeko, Myron, Gannis, Justin Walker, etc., they're demonic. They're demonic. They're demon possessed. They are demon possessed. And yeah, I say it and I stand by it. And if you are a person of faith who has not been sold out by the hard right, like myself, we need to pray. I encourage you. I mean, if you believe in the power of prayer, I do. I try to. I do. We need to pray for these young men. These young men in Gen Z who are following these people, who are following the Tucker Carlsons and the Andrew Tates and the Nick Fuenteses of the world. We need to pray for them. We need to pray for them to get out of it, to get out. But this whole thing about young men is nothing new. It's been brewing for a long time. And when I first woke up to it was on election night in 2024, when I heard that young men, the majority of young men in this nation went to vote for Donald Trump. Young men in Gen Z in this nation voted for Donald Trump. And this was a long result over the likes of, at the time, Charlie Kirk. At the time, all the hard right influencers like the Andrew Tates, Jordan Petersons, Charlie Kirks, etc., Tim Pools, Benny Johnsons, I can name all kinds of names. Influencing these young men, the hard right social media influencers. And the Joe Rogans too, all these people. And the fact that I still try to understand, because the same disease, I have to use the word, I'm trying to use the best words possible, but the same disease that causes our precious nation's young men to watch the Nick Fuenteses, to watch the Andrew Tates, to watch the Myros or the Tucker Carlsons, etc., are the same thing that was causing them to listen to the Joe Rogans and the Charlie Kirks. And I'm not comparing. I'm saying there is a divide. Charlie Kirk was not as bad as these people. I'll emphasize that. But it's the same disease that has caused young men in this country to listen to the likes of, the Charlie Kirks and the Joe Rogans and the Jordan Petersons and the who else? Benny Johnsons and even the Elon Musks and what is his name? RFK Jr., etc. And once they've been pushed to the right enough to say, we're rejecting the liberals, we're rejecting everybody that is, left-leaning, and we're embracing the right wing, they're only a step away from the Nick Fuenteses and Tucker Carlsons and Andrew Tates of the world. And many of them are already there. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And yeah, I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that we should be praying for our nation's Gen Z young men. I really do. To get out of this. To see for what it really is. But also, we need to keep speaking to them, talking to them. Help showing them. We need to keep, the good ones, the good people who are the good young men. We need to continue, and I don't want to call them bad because I feel bad for them. A lot of them have been duped. But at the same time, we need to keep speaking to them and speaking to them and speaking to them to help pull them out of this, to help pull them out of the Andrew Tates and the Nick Fuenteses of the world and the Tucker Carlsons and the Sneekos and Marvin Gaines and and whatever else. It's really, really, really a tragedy. And it began with the likes of the Joe Rogans and Charlie Kirks and Tim Pools and Benny Johnsons. Right-wing influence on targeting Gen Z, America's Gen Z young men, has become so powerful. And we need to do something about it. We need to continue to talk to our young men, to set better examples for them, to show them that these people are not the path to your happiness, to your financial well-being, to your futures, to raising your families, etc. That these people are not the paths to that. We need to keep talking to our young men and showing them the right way. We need to keep speaking to them. We need to keep talking to our nation's young men and showing them that these people are not the path. These people at the club singing Heil Hitler are not the path. They're not the path to you raising a family or having a good financial future, or finding happiness in life or purpose in life. And neither is Tucker Carlson or Benny Johnson or Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan's not that bad, by the way, in comparison. Our nation's young men need us more than ever. And if there's one thing that's at the top of my agenda in my podcast, in my videos, in my speaking out, is to speak out for our nation's young men. Because they're turning to the Benny Johnsons of the world and the Andrew Tates and the Nick Fuentes of the world. They're turning to the, I think it started with Jordan Peterson, honestly. And it just escalates from there. We need to continue to talk to them and set a better light for them and better examples for them so they can get out of this, so they can abandon these horrible people that have caused them to move so far right. And I'm going to keep speaking about this on this channel. And yes, I believe in the power of prayer. Pray for them to get out of this. Pray for them to get away from these people. And keep speaking and having debates and showing positive influence. And continue to show, good examples, better examples for them. And that's my message for today. That's what I want to speak about today. Thanks for watching, folks. This is Javier here, tuning out.